What if gravity turned off for exactly 10 seconds? It sounds like a physics classroom joke, something a bored student might scribble on a notebook while the teacher drones on about Newton's laws. But imagine it, not as a thought experiment, not as a simulation, as real. One moment, you're standing in line for coffee, your keys in your pocket, your dog barking at a squirrel outside. The next, nothing. No weight, no pull, no down. Your coffee cup floats from your hand. Your dog leaps into the air, mid-bark, suspended like a balloon. A car 2 blocks away lifts gently off the pavement, tires still spinning, wheels kicking up dust that doesn't fall. Air pressure shifts. Birds freeze mid-flight. A plane at 30,000 feet begins to drift sideways, its autopilot screaming silently into the void. For those 10 seconds, everything not bolted down becomes airborne. Backpacks, bicycles, toddlers, pigeons, refrigerators, entire buses. Every object on Earth, from the smallest grain of sand to the heaviest cargo ship, rises. Not fast, not violently, just up. Slowly, peacefully, like a sigh escaping the planet. And then, 10 seconds later, it stops. Gravity snaps back, and this is where the horror begins. Because what goes up must come down, and everything that went up came down at terminal velocity. The coffee cup, it hits the ground with the force of a cannonball. The dog, it lands on the sidewalk with a sickening thud. The bus, it crushes 3 parked cars and a bakery. In New York, a man who had just stepped onto a balcony to smoke a cigarette finds himself falling from the 47th floor, not because he jumped, but because the building didn't. He hits the pavement before he can scream. In Tokyo, a woman watching the sunrise from her window sees her entire living room float upward, her couch, her TV, her cat, and then crash back through the roof of the apartment below. Emergency calls flood every network. Hospitals fill with broken bones, crushed skulls, internal bleeding. Fire departments scramble to put out fires ignited by falling power lines. Air traffic controllers watch in disbelief as dozens of planes, suddenly re-engaged with gravity, plummet from their stalled trajectories. Some recover, most don't. But here's the cruel twist. No one saw it coming. No alarms, no warnings. No science fiction movies prepared us. We had no time to brace, no time to hold on. The only people who survived were those lucky enough to be anchored, to be inside reinforced buildings, or holding on to something heavy, or simply too slow to react. Children who clung to trees, elderly men gripping railings, cats curled under beds. They lived. The rest? They became part of the wreckage. And then there are the invisible casualties, the ocean. 10 seconds without gravity means water doesn't just rise, it surges. Tidal waves form instantly, not from lunar pull but from inertia. Water that was once calm now arcs into the sky like a glass dome, hovering over continents. When gravity returns, it crashes back with the force of 1,000 tsunamis. Coastal cities vanish, islands drown, coral reefs shatter, marine life dies by the billions. Not from pollution, not from warming, but from a single silent pause in the universe's rhythm. Meanwhile, satellites tumble, GPS fails, weather systems collapse, climate models become useless, economies freeze, governments crumble. Within hours, the world realizes we weren't just knocked down, we were unmade, and yet no one knows why. No asteroid, no alien tech, no divine intervention, just a glitch, a hiccup, a cosmic blink. In the weeks after, survivors gather in ruined cities, huddled around fires made from splintered furniture, whispering stories. I saw my neighbor's fridge float past my window, says one. I heard a baby laugh right before it hit the ground, says another. Someone finds a child's drawing on a scorched piece of paper. When the world floated, I felt free. Scientists run simulations. They calculate the energy released. It equals 12,000 nuclear bombs, but no blast zone, no radiation, just chaos, pure, dumb, mechanical chaos. And somewhere, deep in a quiet lab in Switzerland, a physicist stares at her screen, tears streaming silently down her face. She spent 20 years studying gravitational anomalies. She published papers, won awards, was invited to speak at conferences. Now she deletes them all because the truth isn't in equations, it's in the silence after the crash. We thought gravity was just a force, but it's the thing that holds us together, not just our bodies, our order, our peace, our humanity. We never noticed it until it stopped. And when it came back, we realized how much we needed it, not to keep us grounded, but to remind us we belong here, even when we're broken, even when we're scared, even when we're lost. Gravity doesn't care if we're good. It just keeps pulling, and maybe that's enough.